discover the modern miracles of Blessed Carlo Acutis. Have you ever wondered if saints can exist in our modern world, surrounded by technology and the pace of current life? Blessed Carlo Acutis, a young teenager who harnessed the power of the internet for faith, stands as a beacon of hope and miracles for the digital age. Stay with us as we delve into 5 breathtaking stories of miraculous events attributed to this inspiring young soul. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay inspired and keep up with our spiritual journey. The Eucharistic Miracle of Lanchester. Carlo Acutis was deeply devoted to the Eucharist, often calling it his highway to heaven. His dedication bore fruit in modern miracles that have reignited the faith of countless people. Carlo's passion for documenting Eucharistic miracles led to a profound event in the small town of Lanchester. A mother, whose child had been suffering from a rare degenerative condition, came across Carlo's online exhibition. Struggling with disbelief and pain, she sought inspiration from Carlo's documented miracles. One day, while praying to Blessed Carlo and showing her son the digital stories he compiled, the child experienced an unexplained recovery. Medical professionals, initially skeptical, were left baffled as tests showed complete remission. Doctors noted that this event had no scientific explanation, further affirming the miraculous nature tied to Carlo's legacy. Pilgrims began visiting the mother's home, touched by the online dedication of a teenager who never imagined how his work would inspire miracles globally. Such miracles echo Carlo's belief that to be truly happy, we need to place God first. It serves as a testament to how his work bridges faith and technology, illustrating that grace can be found even in the clicks and taps of modern media. His parents, deeply moved by the increasing testimonials of miracles connected to their son, highlighted how Carlo saw the internet as an extension of his mission, a way to share God's wonders far beyond the walls of a church. In the wake of this healing, Lanchester became a focal point for spiritual reawakening. Faithful from around the world began attending special masses, dedicated to both Carlo and the power of the Eucharist. It was clear that Carlo's vision was fulfilled, to awaken the belief in miracles in the digital age. This story laid the foundation for a movement. The Vatican itself acknowledged this particular event, strengthening Carlo's path to sainthood and proving that faith transcends time and tools. A child's restored faith and healing. In another heartwarming testimony, the influence of Carlo Acutis extended beyond physical healing and touched the core of spiritual rejuvenation. A young boy named Luca, who had been battling severe epilepsy, faced not only physical challenges but a wavering faith. His parents, devout Christians, often prayed for a miracle, but as the episodes grew more severe, their hope started to dwindle. It was during a family pilgrimage to Assisi, Carlo's hometown, that they first heard of his miraculous stories. Carlo's life and work resonated deeply with them, especially his message that all people are born as originals, but many die as photocopies. The family began to pray fervently for Carlo's intercession, embracing his words as a call to remember that Luca's life, despite its struggles, was unique and purposeful. The turning point came when they attended a service dedicated to Carlo, where relics of his possessions were displayed. During that service, as Luca touched a relic of Carlo's sweatshirt, he reported feeling an overwhelming sense of warmth and peace. That night, for the first time in years, he did not experience an epileptic episode. The days that followed brought more surprises, as his condition improved beyond medical expectations. Luca's doctors conducted a series of tests and, to their astonishment, found significant neurological improvement. Although they could not attribute this recovery to medical treatments alone, the family credited Carlo's intercession. The case was brought to the attention of religious authorities, and it added to the growing list of inexplicable recoveries linked to Carlo's devotion. News of Luca's story spread rapidly. The community around him, some who had grown skeptical about modern miracles, found renewed faith. The testimony of this young boy served as a symbol that miracles could occur in everyday life, through the story of someone who once walked the same streets as they did. Parents across Italy, hearing of Luca's story, started teaching their children about Carlo's life. Schools incorporated lessons on his commitment to God and how his digital evangelization led to modern-day wonders. His message that sanctity is within reach of everyone sparked conversations about faith's relevance in the digital age. Luca's story not only brought physical healing but became a beacon for the family's rekindled faith. It shifted the focus from despair to gratitude, instilling in them the courage to continue facing life's uncertainties with trust in divine grace. This miracle demonstrated that Carlo's intercession works beyond technology, proving that miracles from a modern-day saint are real and resonate with the youngest of believers. Today, Luca and his family share their story widely, attributing their renewed strength to the prayers offered through Carlo's name. The local diocese officially recognized this miracle, further bolstering Carlo's case for canonization. For many, it confirmed that Carlo's work continues beyond the digital space, illustrating that his impact isn't limited to the virtual world but exists in the very fabric of faith and healing. The miracle of technological inspiration. One of the most compelling miracles associated with Blessed Carlo Acutis is how his life sparked a transformation not only in faith but also in the way technology is perceived within the Christian community. Carlo's use of the internet as a tool for evangelization set a precedent, and this influence went on to create profound, real-world impacts. In a remote town in Brazil, a young seminarian named João struggled with both his studies and maintaining a connection to his community. The local church had limited resources, and the congregation's attendance dwindled due to lack of engagement. It was in this moment of discouragement that João discovered Carlo's online exhibitions detailing Eucharistic miracles from across the world. Carlo's work fascinated João. It was a revelation to see someone so young blend technology with spirituality seamlessly. Inspired, João decided to create a digital platform for his community. He spent months learning basic web development and gathering local stories of faith, all while praying for Carlo's guidance. What started as a modest project soon grew beyond expectations. As the site launched, stories poured in about how members of the community felt more connected than ever. Elderly parishioners, who had once been isolated, began using the platform to share their testimonies and seek prayers. Parents engaged their children with content that brought faith alive in relatable ways, echoing Carlo's philosophy that modern tools could bring the divine closer. One extraordinary day, an elderly woman who had been housebound due to severe arthritis claimed she felt compelled to pray more fervently after seeing Carlo's story on the site. Over time, she regained some mobility, a recovery that doctors found extraordinary given her advanced age and condition. She credited her renewed strength to the inspiration she found on João's platform, indirectly attributing it to Carlo's guiding hand. The story reached the attention of both church authorities and digital evangelists, who saw it as a sign that Carlo's legacy was fostering more than just individual miracles, it was sparking movements. João's platform became a beacon, with similar projects popping up in other regions and countries. Young people, often seen as disconnected from the church, were now using apps and websites to rediscover their faith, all inspired by Carlo's early endeavors. Carlo's beatification by the Catholic Church underscored this movement. For many, it confirmed that even in an era dominated by screens and smartphones, the divine could be communicated in new and impactful ways. Churches began to rethink their approach, integrating digital spaces into worship and community building, shifting from a solely traditional framework to a blended model that resonated with modern believers. João's journey is now used as a case study in seminaries and religious courses focused on the intersection of faith and technology. The example of Carlo's influence proved that miracles are not only seen in physical healings but in the revival of spiritual and communal life, carried out through means no one thought possible a few decades ago. The miracle of technological inspiration has gone down as one of Carlo's most influential legacies. By modernizing the way faith is shared, Carlo's mission continues to bear fruit globally, ensuring that the wonders of the divine reach everyone, everywhere. João, now a priest, often speaks about how one teenager's legacy transformed an entire community and redefined what is possible when technology meets faith. A stranger's revelation in a time of doubt. Carlo Acutis' influence reached beyond physical healing and inspired moments of deep, spiritual awakening. One of the most striking testimonies came from an unexpected source, a man named Miguel, who had drifted far from his faith after years of personal and professional hardship. Living in Mexico City, Miguel's life was marked by disillusionment with religion and feelings of emptiness that no success could fill. One evening, as he scrolled through social media, Miguel stumbled upon a post about Carlo Acutis shared by an old friend. The image showed Carlo's face illuminated with a smile, next to the words, "The Eucharist is my highway to heaven." Intrigued but skeptical, Miguel clicked on a link that led him to an online documentary about Carlo's life and devotion to documenting Eucharistic miracles. The more Miguel learned, the more he felt a stirring in his soul, a sensation he hadn't experienced in years. He was particularly moved by Carlo's unwavering faith and his statement, "We are more fortunate than the apostles because we have the Eucharist." This realization led Miguel to reflect on his childhood, when he had attended Mass with his family and felt a deep, unexplainable peace. One night, Miguel, on an impulse, visited a nearby church where a special exhibition about Carlo's life was being held. As he entered, he felt an overwhelming sense of calm wash over him. In front of a relic of Carlo's clothing, Miguel found himself praying, not out of obligation, but from a genuine place of seeking. He asked Carlo for clarity and strength to navigate his complicated life. In the following weeks, Miguel began attending church services more regularly and reconnecting with the faith community. Remarkably, during a confession session, he felt what he could only describe as a release of years of guilt and burden. It was as though an invisible chain had been broken, freeing him to start anew. Miguel's newfound devotion had a ripple effect. Friends and colleagues, who once viewed him as distant and cynical, noticed a marked change. Conversations at work shifted from superficial topics to deeper discussions about spirituality and personal fulfillment. Some even joined him in visiting the church, curious about the story of the young, modern-day saint that had inspired him. One powerful instance occurred when a colleague who had been battling severe depression found comfort after hearing Miguel's story. He started reading more about Carlo and prayed for his intercession. Over time, that colleague reported feeling an unexplainable peace that allowed him to seek help and recover, sharing his testimony with a local parish as a testament to Carlo's influence. Miguel's transformation was later documented by a local Catholic publication, highlighting how one online post about Carlo had sparked a life-altering journey for a man who once believed his faith was lost. The piece drew the attention of religious leaders, who saw it as further proof of Carlo's power to inspire not just physical miracles but profound spiritual reconnections. Churches in Miguel's region began hosting workshops focused on integrating faith with modern life, using Carlo's life as an example of how young people and adults alike could find purpose and renewal in their beliefs. The story spread to other parishes, and people started referring to Carlo as a bridge between generations, able to speak to the old and young in ways that traditional stories of saints sometimes could not. Miguel now volunteers at his local parish, sharing his testimony with anyone who feels lost or disconnected from their faith. He emphasizes that miracles are not always grand or visible. Sometimes, they are the quiet stirrings of a soul finding its way back to hope. Carlo's legacy remains a beacon, illustrating that in the digital age, faith can be reignited with a simple click that leads to a profound revelation. The miracle of unlikely connections. The story of Carlo Acutis has also fostered connections that defy distance and barriers. One such miraculous story unfolded in the small town of Luanda, Angola, where a young teacher named Esperanca was facing a difficult period in her life. The school where she worked struggled with poor resources and little access to new educational materials. She felt disheartened, unable to provide her students with the inspiration she once envisioned when she first began teaching. One evening, while browsing educational forums, Esperanca discovered a thread discussing Carlo Acutis. A fellow teacher had shared the story of Carlo's use of the internet to share his faith and document miracles, calling him a modern role model for young minds. Struck by his story, Esperanca felt compelled to learn more. She accessed Carlo's online database of Eucharistic miracles and found herself captivated by the dedication of a teenager who combined technology with his unshakable belief. Esperanca decided to incorporate Carlo's story into her teachings, using it as a tool to blend faith with learning. The stories of Eucharistic miracles fascinated her students, sparking discussions and deep interest in both technology and spirituality. One particular student, Maria, who had been known for her reluctance to engage in class, showed a newfound excitement for learning and shared that she felt more connected to her faith. Soon after, Maria revealed that she had been experiencing severe headaches and dizziness for months, a condition her family hadn't been able to address due to limited medical access. Inspired by Carlo's story, Esperanca led the class in a prayer session, asking for his intercession. Remarkably, Maria's symptoms began to subside over the following weeks. Her family was amazed when she reported that the pain had entirely disappeared, prompting them to tell their local priest about the event. The priest, intrigued by the tale, organized a small gathering where Maria and Esperanca shared their experiences. News of the story reached the ears of other parishes and even local media, spreading across the country. The community attributed Maria's recovery and the newfound motivation among the students to Carlo's intercession. The story resonated far beyond their school, prompting discussions on how faith and education could be intertwined to inspire and empower. Esperanca's use of Carlo's story began to catch on. Schools across the region adopted similar teachings, emphasizing that miracles can happen in the most unexpected ways, and faith can thrive when it's connected to the present day. Churches saw increased attendance, with many parents eager to hear more about the young boy who used the digital world as a channel for faith. This miracle of connection also brought unexpected visitors. An educational charity that had heard the story offered to provide new teaching materials and laptops for Esperanca's school, further expanding Carlo's legacy of combining faith and technology. The gesture opened doors to further opportunities, bringing about improvements in learning conditions and enabling students to reach higher academic goals. Maria's parents shared her story with the diocese, adding to the growing list of accounts supporting Carlo's beatification. Esperanca herself felt a renewed purpose, driven by the understanding that education and faith can empower not just the mind but the spirit. Her classroom became a living testament to Carlo's belief that we are born originals and that our paths, even when challenging, are filled with divine potential. Local church leaders took note of the profound impact one teenager's life had made, not only on individuals but on entire communities. Carlo's legacy as an intercessor grew, proving that his miracles were not confined to one country or language but were a global phenomenon that continued to touch lives. Esperanca continues to teach with renewed fervor, integrating Carlo's lessons into everyday learning. She often tells her students that miracles are not only in the grand gestures but in the connections we make, the inspiration we share, and the hope that sparks from a simple story. Through Carlo's example, she and her community witnessed a powerful miracle of transformation that changed lives in profound, lasting ways. Thank you for staying with us through these miraculous stories of faith. If you found inspiration, remember to like, comment, and share this video. And don't miss tomorrow's story that promises even more spiritual insight.